All right, this is day 3 of the VETSELITE video blog, and today something interesting came up, and I was having a conversation with another strength coach, a high school strength coach, and we started off the conversation. I'm just trying to figure out kind of what is going on, and what we wanted to talk about for the day. And one of the first things that was brought up and was this guy had, like, he was enamored with the hammer jammer machine. Like, for football players and for offensive linemen, that was like gold standard. Like, you got to do it. It's like extremely specific. And part of the problem was he was really mad because the school threw it out when he was getting back surgery, and then he came back and it was gone. It was like, major deal. Something that was like, oh, that's my machine. Like, what am I supposed to do? And no, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to be condescending about that mindset at all, because prior to some of the knowledge I'm about to provide right here, like, I had exercised that. I was like, dude, like without this, like, you have to do this for sport, or like, this is so sport specific. Like, the hammer jammer, that's so specific to locking out alignment. And for me, it was like the band and speed squat dynamic effort method was so, like, transferable to, like, power. And, like, that was something that no matter what sport, you're going to see a transfer, and you're going to see, like, it's specific to what you need for driving through loads and et cetera, right? So I just wanted to give, like, kind of my answer, or like my reply to this issue that this coach was having, and I want to give it to you guys. So basically, like, sports specificity in the weight room is it's non-existent, right? Like, you have to remember that everything is environment context. So if I want to train in a sport specific environment, whatever sport it is, first thing is first is you need to be playing the sport, right? Like, that's the most specific that you can get training for a sport. So if I'm a basketball player, what's the most sport specific training that I can get? Playing 5-on-5 basketball in competition during the season. That's the most specific, because those are the environmental stressors. Like, all those environmental stressors, those are what you need to be attuned to. That's what you need to be ready for. That's the environment that you are going to be in when it matters, when it counts. Now, as I get farther away from that environment, the more you track and the more things you take away, the less specific it gets in nature. So if I'm playing 5-on-5 in practice, yeah, that's very specific training for basketball, but it's still not sports specific. It's not the most sports specific, because you know what? You don't have a crowd. You don't know what game it is. You don't know if it's in league, out of league. You don't know if it's playoffs, not playoffs. You don't know if somebody's hurt and you're playing more minutes. So again, that's even taking a step back. Now, if I take a step back and I'm going 3-on-3, 2-on-2, 1-on-1, off season, in season, et cetera. Now, you want to, if we're kind of thinking on this mentality, now if I'm saying that I'm doing jumping exercise in the weight room and this is sports specific, well, is it really, right? I am jumping in training in the weight room for a purpose, because I want your absolute ability to move your center of mass in space with reaction to the ground. I want you to get better at that, right? But then, is that specific to how you jump in a game? It's all about context. Like, why would I jump in a basketball game? Why would I jump in the weight room? Like, if I tell somebody to, pick up those dumbbells, jump as high as you can, they are jumping to improve a physical ability of the body, right? When you jump in a game, well, there's a purpose behind that. There's context behind that. So there's a context to say, okay, like, I want to jump to get this rebound. I want to jump to block this shot. I need to take these 2 steps to get to where this defender is to block this shot. I need to take one back step and post my arm so that I can grab the rebound over here. It's not just for maximally jumping or jumping repetitively in training for these kind of, like, physiological and physical adaptations that us as strength coaches are kind of always going for. You know what I mean? So this also kind of translates back to, like, the hammer jammer thing and, like, football players. So same thing, yeah, like that football hammer jammer alignment. That's so specific in the sense that it's, it's good that you're driving through a load, you're pressing forward, you're utilizing, tucked in arms, etc. But again, that's not even on the field of play. There's no contextual cues in the environment of a weight room on a hammer jammer machine that are the same, right? The hammer jammer isn't pushing against you. The hammer jammer isn't trying to go by you. I mean, if you can get somebody right here and hold them, like how many times did it actually happen? You're moving laterally, moving to the side, you're moving downfield. If you're trying to make a pull block, if you're trying to make like a stretch block, if you're trying to make a down block, like all those are different techniques that you need strength. Like you need certain strength and power capabilities. You need to be able to move your center of mass, put in the right spot. You want to be strong enough to overcome the load, not only of your own body weight, but you want to be able to overcome the body weight of the other player, and you want to be able to overcome them pushing against you, trying to move, maybe, and all the hand fighting techniques that go along with that. If they get your leverage on your elbow and they tuck here, how are you going to put? So there's all these things that when we're talking about sports specificity in the weight room, doesn't really happen. You know what I mean? So we have to, as strength coaches, kind of remember what are part of the holistic training process that we're trying to attack. Like I'm trying to attack somebody's overall general strength. I just want them to be a stronger person or a more powerful person or a faster person, but they need the opportunities to then go on the field or on the court or on the pitch or whatever it may be to then take those new adaptations and learn how to use them. Same thing goes with speed, right? Just because somebody is fast does not mean that they are necessarily going to be as successful within a sporting environment. Perfect example, Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt is the fastest human alive, has the highest velocity reached like ever, right? Now he's playing professional soccer. So if he's the fastest person ever and speed is the answer, well, why isn't he already in, the top league scoring the most amount of goals of all time? Because it's all contextual. It's about when to use your speed, when to slow down, when to start up, what position to put yourself in relation to other players. There's tactical knowledge involved. There's strategical knowledge involved. All going into the same environment that you're in and utilizing your speed at the right times to get by somebody at the right time, to say, oh, it's a 2-on-1 as a defender. I need to, play 30% towards man with the ball, 30% off because I know my goalie's going to shade off that way so that he can have that. I take down this angle, and if I see he's about to take a shot, I take my break at it, get ready for the pass. So it's positioning and when to slow down, when to speed up, and most of the time you're not even running in a straight line. So if I still get somebody fast in a straight line, did I do my job as a strength coach? In my opinion, yes. Developing top end max speed is something that is essential to all field sports. Look up Tony Holler, look up Feed the Cats. That's kind of going back to what I talked about yesterday, but that's something that's essential. I need to have athletes have the ability to unlock the capability of max speed, and on top of that, and more importantly for fields and team sports, what happens is if you build up somebody's top speed, right? So let's say I can run 10 meters per second. That's my fastest I can run. I'm not going to do that all the time in sport. So if I can only run 10 meters per second, what is my 60% going to be? 6 meters per second. So let's say I operate at 6 meters per second during a soccer game, right? When I'm running to attack and cutting another way, I can get around 6 meters per second. That's 60% of my energy, okay? 60%. Now, let's say I increase up to 10.5 meters per second on my top end ability. What happens is that 60%? That 60% goes up too. So now you're moving faster and requires less energy. So there's more to it than, just, linear speed is the go-to or linear speed doesn't translate, etc. So when it comes to sports specificity, we as coaches can't get wrapped up in one exercise or one thing. And we have to kind of remember that even though we are training and creating adaptations of the body, we need to give opportunities for athletes to go and learn about them, use them and express them, and have the understanding that our coaches, sport coaches, are handling that reactive, that technical, and that tactical side. And if that's something where we need to intervene to educate the sport coaches, do that. That is day number 3. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you got any comments or questions. Have a good night.